Good day, fellow South Africans. Today we are going to be talking about understanding the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Act number 108 of 1996. And I act in terms of Section 34. When acting in terms of Section 34, one would take into consideration the following. Section 34, it basically gives you the definition of when you want to access the courts. Any one of you has a right to access the courts. You must not fear the courts. You must approach the court whenever you see any criminal activity, corruption, misconduct, or apartheid happening. It says everyone is all of you, has a right. The term right, it comes to you having to understand what is the actual meaning of this term right. I understand that you can see this whole thing in front of your screen. I just only want to explain you what is right. And then we go to this particular term right. This term right is explained in terms of Section 7 of the Constitution. You see, Section 7 of the Constitution, it talks about rights. So each and every time you see the term right, I've got a right of this, I've got a right of this, you actually mean Section 7 and every term in this particular section. So now, the term right means that this Bill of Rights is a cornerstone of democracy in South Africa. It enshrines the rights of all people in our country and affirms the democratic values of human dignity, equality, and freedom. The state must respect, protect, promote, and fulfill the rights in the Bill of Rights. The rights in the Bill of Rights are subject to the limitation contained or referred to in Section 36 or elsewhere in the bill. That is what right means. And you see immediately underneath it the meaning of the term application. And application is also included in this Section 34, which one goes with. It says, everyone has the right to have any dispute. You can complain about anything, and anything is anything. You can, as a wife, can go and say, yo, court, my husband is refusing me conjugal rights, for example. Or as a wife, you can, as a husband, you can go and say, court, my wife is refusing me conjugal rights. Whenever it becomes a dispute, that can be resolved by the application of law decided in a fair public hearing before a court, or, where appropriate, another independent and impartial tribunal or forum. Fellow South Africans, I say this to you not because you do not know. You know, you just do not understand. And now, in returning you to the understanding of this particular matter, you would understand it to be true that the term application, this is where, when you have a right where the state, every time you exercise that right, it's like you are going to the shop and saying, I'm buying bread. And when you're buying bread, it then becomes an issue, Yoguti. You have to pay for that particular bread, and then that particular person must give you bread. So now, when you want to exercise a right, you go to this particular place where rights are exercised. And then those particular rights is where the state must respect, protect, promote, and fulfill your rights in the Bill of Rights as listed in what is described or defined as the term right. The application of law decided in a fair public hearing before a court. This hearing cannot be private. That is why people are allowed to enter into court. And when you sit and look at it, how many of you fellow South Africans went to court and were denied entry to court when you came to have an audience where I am leading a notice of motion before court? It is true, I have been beaten in the corners. However, that is not the point of discussion. Application. When applying this law, you come, the Bill of Rights applies to all law. It applies to all law. You can have any other law, the Vexatious Proceedings Act law, and then you can have the Criminal Procedure Act law, you can have the Eviction Act law, the Prevention, PI Act, and then you can have any other law that you can have. The Bill of Rights applies to all law. That is what you must understand. And binds the legislature, the executive, where the president is, the judiciary, where Chief Justice Mogoeng is, and all organs of state. A provision in the Bill of Rights binds a natural or juristic person if and to the extent that it is applicable, taking into account the nature of the right and the nature of any duty imposed by the right. A provision in the Bill of Rights, let's say for example, a provision, equality. It's a provision. You must treat me equally. Doesn't matter who you are. You are President of the Republic, you must see me as an equal person. You are the Chief of the South African National Defence Force, you must see me as an equal person. You are the Chief Justice, you must see me as an equal person. As everyone is equal before the law and has the right to equal protection and benefit of the law. That is the provision. So now, binds a natural person. A natural person is any one of you. Any person is a natural person. A juristic person, it's like an organization, for example, Sasole or a Caltex or a Defense Force or any other company that you may know. That's a juristic, or the police service or the Hawks or any other organ of state or company or business operating type of a thing. That's a juristic person. So when a police people come to you, they come to you in their juristic nature. You understand? So that is how this particular meaning of the word implies into this thing. Don't be scared of these terms, juristic or what, because we don't know English. We get to be scared a lot of times about these simple terms, and then people makes it as if we don't understand them, while we do. And to the extent that it is applicable. It is not applicable for a police officer to come when arresting you and kiss you, for example. That juristic person cannot come and then be kissing a wife of another person when they are executing their respective duties. Do you understand that reality? So that is the applicability of this particular term. I'm taking this time because I am going to fly out of this particular issue when I move into the terms of court, and then I need you to understand what I'm saying. Taking into account the nature of the right and the nature of any duty imposed on the right. The duty imposed on the right for the kissing is the duty of the husband or the boyfriend or the partner of that particular person, without any discrimination. And the juristic person cannot be coming and then be violating that particular duty. You understand? And this applies equally to everyone. You understand? So now, when you apply this particular Bill of Rights, you need to take that. When applying a provision in the Bill of Rights to a natural or juristic person in terms of subsection 2, a court, in order to give effect to the right in the bill, must apply, if necessary, or if necessary, develop the common law to the extent that legislation does not give effect to that right, and may develop rules of the common law to limit the right, provided that the limitation is in accordance with section 36(1). A juristic person is entitled to the rights in the Bill of Rights to the extent required by the nature of the rights and the nature of that juristic person. A juristic person is entitled to the rights in the Bill of Rights to the extent required by the nature of the rights and the nature of that juristic person. A nurse cannot arrest you. A nurse can call the police to arrest you, or a nurse can call us to arrest you, depending who is nearest. However, the reality of the matter is that us as the Defence Force are above the South African Police Service. Providing a service and providing a defense are two different elements that one needs to understand in relation to juristic persons. That is the application. So now, when the court looks at you, it says, okay, I'm looking at a soldier here, and a soldier must defend the Constitution. True. That is a fair, honest court that would be looking at a juristic person or a natural person. That is how the court comes to its decision, and then it is guided by the statutory terms of the Superior Courts Act in Chapter 4, I believe, if my memory serves me well, in that regard. As to Chapter 4 of the Superior Courts Act talks about the manner at which courts arrive to a decision, and they have to follow that to a letter. We will get to that. I was just only explaining access to court. I don't want to get to take you out of this particular issue. So this is access to courts, and then access to courts, we come to it. It is section 34. Section 34, and where appropriate, another independent and impartial tribunal or forum, where appropriate in service and defense of the country and its people, this independent and impartial tribunal or forum can be as in terms of the Defense Act. If I am not wrong, why is the Defense Act? Just trying to show you, there's the Defense Act. The Defense Act, it comes to section 101. I'm looking for section 101. I just want you to familiarize yourself with the terms of section 101 so that you understand this. How do these things tie in together, or how do they link together, and the application thereof? Because at the end of this particular broadcast, you must know how the law is applied. When they say in accordance with the Constitution and the law, what exactly do they mean? So now, here is boards of inquiry. They say the minister is a civil control of the defense force. The secretary for defense, it's another civilian control in terms of section 36 or 38 of the Public Finance Management Act. I'm not sure. My memory will serve me well in that regard. Or the chief of defense force, and who's appointed in terms of section 13 of the Defense Act. The Minister of Defense Act in terms of section 80 of the Defense Act, and then she's responsible for what is written there in terms of section 80, which is to cause to be done, the things that must be done. It says may at any time or place. Any time or place. People, understand this particular thing to be the literal meaning of these terms. Any time or place. It can happen even in the toilet. It can happen at 3 a.m. It can happen at any time or place. I am being explicit with you. It can even happen on the streets. It can happen on top of the tree. It can happen underneath the ground. It can happen at sea. It can happen underwater. It can happen in the sky. At any time or place, convene a board of inquiry to inquire into any matter concerning the department. Any matter can be you seeing, hey, there is the video about the Department of Defense Force. What is that video all about? Can you go find out what is that video all about? Call people concerned in that particular regard in terms of section 101, please. We are acting in accordance with the Constitution and the law. We're not acting in accordance with personalities. Any employee thereof or any member of the defense force, auxiliary service, any public property or the property or affairs of any institution or any regimental or sports funds of the said force, and to report thereon or to make a recommendation. These three people, including General Mapwanya, may at any time or place convene a board of inquiry into any matter. Into any matter. Doesn't matter what is the matter, they may do that in service and defense. And that would then be called an independent, it will be another independent and impartial tribunal or forum. I trust now you follow these particular terms. I trust that you follow how this particular constitution is literally applied across the board. I trust that you understand the truth that I am about to give you right now. So, the other thing is that if one goes to court, one does not expect to people there to love him or hate him or what. People in court are not paid to hate other people. They are not paid to love other people. They are paid to provide a service, equally so, for everyone. When a person comes with court documents or an email or any applicable service that can be rendered by the court, you come to the position where you need to understand that that particular court is a public entity because it treats everyone. You understand? It talks to everyone, has the right to have any dispute that can be resolved by the application of law decided in a fair public hearing before a court or, where appropriate, another independent and impartial tribunal or forum. It talks to everyone. So now, these people, because they are administering public, they will have to go to this thing which is in chapter 10, where in chapter 10 it talks about public administration. And public administration, it says the basic values and principles governing public administration must be governed by the democratic values and principles enshrined in the Constitution, not enshrined in Judge President Hlophe. No, Judge President Hlophe does not like this one. Therefore, this one, we are going to tear his papers. We are going to do everything. Hey, it's people that you know, when you know and you look in a situation where people are very angry, and so angry to a point where you find something like something like this, it becomes a problem. I sit and think about exactly what is happening, and then when you look at the reality of what is happening and what other people are doing in that particular reality, it's like I just want to I will show you this particular video right now. This is what was happening in the Western Cape, and then this person comes. This is at the Cape High Court, people. This is Owen. Owen is there tearing my papers, and then called the security on me, saying, hey, you see. So those are the things that you find. I don't want that drama. And I'm being honest with you, I really, really don't want that particular drama at all. It puts me as the defense force into disrepute, because that is the actual reality that happens, and that is the actual reality that is being kept to sustain criminal activity, corruption, and misconduct, where people fail to adhere to the basic principles of chapter 10. Now, everything that I expect in court or anywhere in public administration, good people, is what is written here. Public administration must be governed by the democratic values and principles enshrined in the Constitution, including the following principles. A high standard of professional ethics must be promoted and maintained. Efficient, economic, and effective use of resources must be promoted. You cannot be tearing the paper, say, Owen, clean hands. in the Western Cape as the person who's been placed there as the watchdog for Lieutenant Commander Mangolele, because the Honorable Davis J has fraudulently declared Lieutenant Commander Mangolele a vexatious litigant. Without hearing Lieutenant Commander Mangolele, and they expect Lieutenant Commander Mangolele to obey such a manifestly illegal order. And Lieutenant Commander Mangolele does not obey manifestly illegal orders. Public administration must be development orientated. You must not be destroying the papers or Entlein hands. Services must be provided impartially, fairly, equitably, and without bias. No, Judge Hlophe does not like you. He says he created his court order on his own brains and say Mangolele must report to him. Mangolele looks at the papers, he can't see anything when it says Judge Hlophe must come do these things. People's needs must be responded to. I need a place to stay. And the public must be encouraged to participate in policy making. Hallelujah. Public administration must be accountable. Hands, you will account, trust me on that one. Transparency must be fostered by providing the public with timely, accessible, and accurate information. Every time I come live, I'm fulfilling this obligation. Each and every single time I come live, because the Defense Force is a public entity. Good human resource management and career development practices to maximize human potential must be cultivated. Mangolele, we are saying Bulala, Mangolele, I am going to be General Rodzani Mapwanya. I am going to hear about Mangolele and I'm not going to pay Mangolele's salary. And Mangolele must accept it. And we did not call Mangolele, but he must accept it. It's public administration, it's expected everywhere. Public administration must be broadly representative of the South African people with employment and personnel management practices based on ability, objectivity, fairness. Call people to come and accountable. These things, they are singing together. There's nothing personal here. There's no love lost. And the need to redress the imbalances of the past to achieve broad representation. The above principles apply to the administration in every sphere of government. The courts are in every sphere of government, organs of state and public enterprises. National legislation must ensure the promotion of the values and principles listed in subsection 1. The appointment in public administration of a number of persons on policy consideration is not precluded, but national legislation must regulate these appointments in the public service. Legislation regulating public administration may differentiate between different sectors, administrations, or institutions. Fellow South Africans, I trust now you have had an understanding of what I expect when I go to court, and then you would understand that I go there peacefully. I go there with a matter of understanding exactly what I'm doing. I'm not fighting with anyone. All that I am doing is serving and defending the country and its people in accordance with the Constitution and the law. So don't get confused. What I will do right now, I will send this particular video link along with another video link that I will do right now in terms of a notice of motion that I was kept in jail for, to be prevented from moving in service and defense of my country and its people. It is now time for you to understand the reality of this particular matter and the simplicity of it in law. It's just that what I am doing requires honor, dignity, courage, and integrity, and it is my oath of office to serve you in accordance with the Constitution and the law as a country and its people with honor, dignity, courage, and integrity. I now thank you for this particular time, and then we'll proceed to the next video, which will come live shortly. Thank you.